Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Engineer Ben O.C. Oko. I wish to warmly welcome you to the 6th edition of Inside the Arena. Today, Inside the Arena is a very distinguished engineer, an engineer who has distinctively distinguished himself in the field of engineering practice, in his career as an engineer, and in every conceivable parameter. He is the 17th president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. It's my honor to introduce Engineer ADEBISI SHONUBI, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and Fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Engineering. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Without wasting time, let's begin with this, sir. Who is Engineer Dr. FOLASODUN ADEBISI SHONUBI? Tell us about yourself, your family background, and about your education.
Thank you very much, Ben O.C. I am Engineer Dr. FOLASODUN ADEBISI SHONUBI. I'm nearly 87 years old. I graduated in mechanical engineering in 1959, and came back to Nigeria in 1965, December, I think. 64 December. I am married and have 4. Hello?
I can hear you, sir. Go on.
I practiced for about 9 years as a lecturer at the University of Lagos, and thereafter as a consulting engineer in the firm of SHONUBI initially making the associates. Later on, SHONUBI making the associates due to the demise of my partners. I have been president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, president of the Association of Professional Body of Nigeria Engineer, APBN. I still attend council meeting of the Council of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Anything else you want to know, you have to ask me.
Okay, why did you study engineering? Please, before you answer, can you adjust your face a little? Is above the camera so that we can see your face? If you can bring down your head a little bit to the camera so that, yes, thank you very much, sir.
You
yes,
like that?
Yes, it's okay now.
It's okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about
it's off now,
volume,
sir.
all right?
It's off now, sir.
The volume?
No, the volume is okay, but your face, we can't see your face now. I think we've lost.
Yes, you are connected now.
Yes.
Yes, you asked
Okay,
me
sir.
why did I decide to study mechanical engineering?
Yes. Let me see if I
Well,
can.
looking back,
I can't track your. 1 minute, sir. Let me see if I can get your face again. Okay. I want to add to pick. All right. Okay, you can continue, sir.
I didn't really have any guidance as to what branch of engineering I was suited for. I thought I was suited for any branch of engineering, and mechanical engineering in those days had the reputation of being the most difficult because we didn't have exposure to machine drawing at any level before going to study it. And because it was reputed to be more difficult than the electrical or civil, I decided that was what I wanted to study. You might say useful vanity or intellectual vanity or something, but there was no other reason that it was more difficult. Therefore, it was a target for me to achieve.
Okay, that was the reason you studied mechanical engineering.
Yeah, that was mainly the reason why I chose mechanical engineering rather than electrical or civil. In those days, those were the other two options.
Do you all your life you practiced engineering in Nigeria? Do you have any regret practicing engineering in Nigeria? Oh, yeah.
Also, I was in a band, not for too long, but I was in a band.
Hello, sir.
Event.
Can you go on? Hello, sir.
Hello.
I can hear you. Can you go on?
Well, you asked me why I decided to study mechanical engineering.
I asked if you have any regrets studying or practicing engineering in Nigeria.
Well, I have had no regrets. Being an engineer, the training was to be a problem solver, and there are enough problems to solve. Nigeria is relatively undeveloped in mechanical engineering because mechanical engineering is largely industry-based, and Nigeria is poorly developed in that respect. And even the little industries that there were at the beginning were owned by foreign companies who preferred their problem solving to be done in their home countries. They were interested only in maintenance and operations personnel, not development engineers. But that notwithstanding, I found it quite interesting.
So no regrets at all.
So there's no point regretting things in life when it was your own choice. No point regretting. Besides, I had the useful vanity of thinking that I was good in anything that I could
Hello, sir, can you hear me? I think the network is... Hello, sir. Oh dear. Sorry about that. I think we are having some challenges with the network. Hello, sir. Can you hear me now?
It's like today's arena is inside one serious corner.
Mr. President. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. I think we are having some challenges with the network.
Yes, I think so too.
Okay, I can hear you now. Can you hear me, sir? Hello, my past president, sir.
Yeah, I think it's indicating that his network is low. He has a low network. So
that's what
he may need to.
Okay, I think he's trying to connect with another device. I'm seeing 2 devices. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Okay, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I've turned to another device and I'm hearing you now.
Okay, sir. Please, can you your video is still not showing so that we can see your face.
We want to see my face.
You are our special guest, so we'll be glad if we can see your face, sir. You click on the video icon, it will show your face. Okay, I think it showed now and went off again. Okay, I think that, yeah, we can see your face now, sir. Okay, we are sorry about that brief.
Yeah, that is a bit of a hitch. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, sir. You have a first class. You have a first class in mechanical engineering.
Yes.
You also have a PhD in mechanical engineering, and also you later obtained another master's, a master's in production engineering. And you reached the peak of your career in mechanical engineering practice. You know, the dream of any man who got to that level, you know, president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, is to have a son or a child who is also an engineer. And you also fulfill that, because your son also read mechanical engineering. He holds also a master's degree in mechanical engineering. But after obtaining these degrees in engineering, he left engineering to pursue a career in banking. Today, he is a deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Were you happy with his decision at the onset when he left the engineering profession to banking? Were you happy with his decision?
Well, I was not unhappy. Let me tell you that. Because now we have 4 offspring. They are no longer children. The youngest of them will be 50 this year. And all four of them follow different paths. One studied engineering, one studied architecture, one studied pharmacy, one studied economics. So you can see that we, my wife and I, didn't put pressure on any of them to go follow any particular path, but to follow the path where their talent led them. So I was not unhappy. When he worked in my firm for a few months, and he decided that he wanted to study, to follow a 6-month full-time course in computer programming in the University of Lagos. To me, that was perfectly all right. He finished that, he did a master's in business administration. It widened his horizon. He always said, he wanted to work in a bank. And I said, a bank? But you're an engineer. He said, yeah, but there's engineering work in banks that, there's work in banks that engineers do. So, all right. So he went. His engineering preparation, I think, has stood him in very good stead. He went into banking on the operations side, on computer, on IT side of banking operations, and he has been an expert at that. So I have no regrets. I don't think he has any regrets either. But he remains in touch with engineering.
Are you proud of his achievements now, outside engineering?
Am I? Well, let me say that a couple of weeks ago, some people preparing a video for his 60th birthday came to me and I said quite clearly that we are very proud of him.
Thank you very much, sir. You became a member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers in 1968 and a fellow.
That's not correct.
What year did you become a corporate member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers?
Okay. Yeah, now you see, that was for record. When I obtained my mechanical engineering degree, I applied for and became a graduate of the Institution of Mechanical Engineers. And when I became a lecturer, I had taught for about 2 years, I think, I applied for and became a corporate member, an associate member of the Institution of Mechanical Engineers. That was the professional grade.
Yes.
So that is what we now call corporate members. It was then AMI, MECE, AMI, CE, AMI, EE. And that was the professional grade. And I was that before 1968.
Okay. But for the fellowship of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, you were inducted a fellow in 1978. And I want to ask, who inspired you? Who inspired you to join the Nigerian Society of Engineers?
Well, it was not an inspiration. In October 1959, I was new in London. I stayed at the British Council Hostel. It is in Hans Crescent. It's still there till today, number 3, Hans Crescent. And I saw an events board there shortly after I arrived in London that said the Nigerian Society of Engineers was holding a meeting there, 1959, October. So I looked in. I'm a Nigerian in London. Nigerian Society of Engineers was having an event. I walked in. It was apparently the AGM. They were electing officers. And to my surprise, when I introduced myself as Shonubi, they say, aha, that's the young fellow who got a first class in mechanical engineering. You must be one of us. So that was it. And they immediately drafted me to be an assistant publicity secretary to an older engineer, ADEBISI was his name. I learned he later on resided and worked in Owerri. So that's how I came into NSE in 1959.
Just a year after the society was founded. So we will say that you are almost as old as the society. Now you served as the general secretary. Then it was the general secretary that it was called from 1972, if I'm not correct, to 1975. Before you became general secretary, you mentioned you were assistant publicity secretary.
General secretary.
Which other positions did you hold before you became the general secretary of the society in 1972?
Well, I was a rebel.
I didn't get that, sir.
So executive my life was through writing a stinker. Hello?
Hello, I can hear you, sir.
Aha. In 1967, I think, I thought the elders were not really doing what they should be doing. I thought the society should have a library. I thought society should be developing codes and standards. I thought the society should be doing many other professional things, like the institution in London was doing. So I wrote a stinker along those lines to the then president, Engineer FAEng. He was president. And instead of being offended, invited me to attend the council meeting. And that was it. When and there he asked me, what do you think we should be doing, young man? Give us your ideas. After I had spoken to them, they said, you think we should have a professional development committee? I said, yes, sir. I said, okay, we set up one, you be the chairman. That was how it started. So it wasn't that somebody inspired me to join the NSE. It was a chain of circumstances following each other.
Okay, now
and being assistant secretary, MF Kanyi was secretary, and his assistant was Engineer Guy Otobo, Federal Ministry of Works. He was posted to be resident engineer on the Orebini Road, then under construction. So I was drafted to replace him as assistant secretary. And then Engineer Otobo had a stroke and couldn't continue. I was drafted to replace him as general secretary. So that's how things have progressed. But I was secretary for about 5 years, general secretary. I decided I'd had enough and would not contest for the post of secretary again.
Now that takes me to my next question. Late past President Ike Inua wrote in his book that you signed his student membership admission form as a student member. And I wouldn't say coincidentally, or maybe by divine providence, in 1991, you became the 17th president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, taking over from the same young man you signed his form about 18 years before as a student. Now, but one thing that needs to be mentioned is that also in 1988, in Abeokuta, you defeated a serving second vice president, Engineer J. U. Ewe, to become the first vice president of the society, an equivalent of the deputy president today. That was a major upset in the NSE election. Having left the office of the General Secretary in 1975, one would have thought you would have gone straight to become a vice president, but you did not until about 10 years after. Why did you stay so long out of the system until that time you came back to become the vice president?
Well, when I thought I had enough serving as the general secretary, I decided to, I still continued in the committee work, but I didn't really have an ambition to vie for vice president. And in those days, we had plenty of distinguished elders who were very actively involved in the society. They were not distant. Unlike today, they were government officials in high policy positions, but they were actively involved. Maybe it was the pioneering days and we had to build up in face of colonialism. But with those elders in front of me, I had no ambition to sidestep or jump over any of them. I was quite satisfied.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Hello.
I can hear you. You can go on, sir. You can go on, sir.
1998. One of the elders to me, and he had an assignment. I want you to, for the position of vice president. I had not been third vice president or second vice president. They said they wanted me to vie for the post of first vice president. And I said, why, sir? And he said, well, we sit back and look at the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and the kind of trend we see coming up disturbs us somewhat, and we want you to restore the purpose of the society. And I said, is that why you want it? I said, yeah. I said, there's no ethnic issue in this matter. He said, no. I told him, okay, I will think about it for 3 months. He said, okay. He went away. 3 months later, he came back and said, what's your decision? And I told him, you know, I'm not a politician. I understand what you are saying. If I'm going to contest, then you'll have to do the campaigning for me. He said, no problem. So that was it.
Wow,
but I did something unusual that year.
Okay, continue, sir.
I did something unusual. I didn't campaign. And in those days, we didn't spend any money campaigning for office. The NSE was running on support from members. We didn't have a budget of hundreds of thousands, let alone billion of naira. There was no money in NSE, only service. What I think earned me the election that year was that I produced a single A4 page in which I listed a record of service in the NSA. And I distributed it at the AGM at a strategic moment. That was what won me the election to defeat John Egbe, who was the incumbent second vice president.
Yeah. Wow. As
That has not been refined into what contestants now produce, and the NSA publishes as the profiles of contestants. But that was the first time a contestant put pen to paper to say, this is who I am, this is what I have done.
Yes.
This is why I'm asking you to support me.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. Coming from a non-serving vice president to become the first vice president, an equivalent of the deputy president today, is a major upset in the annals of history of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. And now we go to another event that took place under your presidency. The first meeting towards the creation of the Nigerian Academy of Engineering was held on the 5th of February, 1992. You were president in 1991 and 1992. At that time, you were president. I was told that many past presidents of the society and many members of the Nigerian Society of Engineers opposed the creation of the Nigerian Academy of Engineering. They saw it as a rival association to the NSE. As president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers at that time, what was your position?
Well, as a matter of fact, Engineer Falu was who became the second president. He declined to become the first president, yielding to Engineer Oladapo, who was already in the Academy of Sciences. My reaction was that at that time I was aware that in the UK, there was a fellowship of engineering with the Duke of Edinburgh as a patron. Okay. And there was no conflict. The institutions were there. This fellowship of engineering, which later became the Royal Academy of Engineering in the UK, one of the initial founders was my professor at Imperial College, Professor Alon. And there was no conflict with the institutions there. So I didn't see where there should be any conflict with the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Its mode of operation and its aspirations will be different. And after discussion with Faluyi to sort out what this was going to be, I had no opposition to it. I was one of the pioneer members of the academy.
Okay. Have you ever held any position in government before?
Not really, no. I worked as a clerk immediately after leaving, after my school search for about 3 months. First in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture in Ibadan. I didn't like it. I spent only 2 days on the field there. And I took a clerk's job in the Federal Ministry of Education, no, sorry, the Western Nigeria Ministry of Education. Only holiday jobs have I done in government places.
All right. Now, on your return to Nigeria in 1964, you joined the Faculty of Engineering, University of Lagos, and you rose to the position of a senior lecturer, and you were also acting HOD of the Department of Mechanical Engineering. Why did you leave the academic arena?
Well, Nigeria is a very wide open space. It was in those days, and I think it still is. Opportunities everywhere. I had got to learn that Obi Obembe was a pioneer in civil engineering consultancy. Most people worked for government and stayed in government departments. And I looked around and I didn't really see any in the mechanical field. And I thought there were opportunities out there, especially as during my MSc at Imperial College, I'd had a brush with industrial engineering and was fascinated by the possibilities that if we could do things efficiently, find the one best way, current at the time, to do things, including clerical work in ministries, but particularly in production work in factories, that you could make an impact and I could make a difference. So I decided that even though as a lecturer, I was given part-time lecture to the UAC group on work study, I decided that if one must do something well, then you have to give it your full attention. If you're in consultancy, you must be available to entertain, to respond to your clients' requirements at all times, not when it's convenient and when your lecture hours permit. That was why I left.
Do you have any regrets leaving the academic arena?
Yeah, I have not gone back. Many of my colleagues,
Okay, that's a good one. What was your biggest achievement as the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers? And also you served as president of the Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria. What was also your achievement as president of APBN? These two organizations you led.
Well, as an NSC, and even till now, I don't see building structures as an achievement. But I do think building institutions can be an achievement. And so that has been, that was my focus when I was president of the NSC, was to establish committees that will do the professional work, professional development. As a matter of fact, we had a professional development committee, but when what do we call a consulting group, an ACEN, and we were the same people in NSC who formed ACEN. We decided there was no point in having rival groups of people. Let ACEN look after our professional association, our relationship with clients, and let NSC focus on codes, standards, the related issues. So that is why we didn't set up we more or less disbanded the professional development committee in NSC and encourage our members who are in practice to join ACEN. By achievements, I don't know. I leave that to the historians. But I'm proud that the Board of Trustees was set up during my tenure. And I proposed the first set of the members and the chairman to the council. The council approved. I'm quite proud of that. During my second year, we also did a far-reaching overhaul of our constitution. In fact, that was the 30 years ahead committee, which Aketunde set up, finalized its work, and the basis was that NSC should stop being like a township association. We should stop electing people yearly and then putting responsibility for our funding and our programming in their hands. we should have a crop of professional people in a society, in our secretariat, to do those functions. And committees should focus on professional issues. And so that amendment of the Constitution did away with General Secretary. We brought in an Executive Secretary, did away with Publicity Secretary and Treasurer and all those, and said those functions should be performed by Secretariat people, by people who actually have some competence in those functions. I suppose you can call that an achievement, but I didn't do it. The society did it. I only was president at the time and guided the processes and procedures.
Talking about the Board of Trustees, which you mentioned now that you midwifed the establishment of the Board of Trustees, what was the main reason behind the establishment of the Board of Trustees? And looking at the Board of Trustees today, that dream, that reason, do you think that that vision has been actualized vis-a-vis the role of the board today?
The role of the board is in one sentence, Article 33(3), I think. It says the board shall be the custodians of the assets and objects of the society. If we were not a limited company, our board of trustees will be incorporated, and they will not just be custodians. Our assets will be vested in them. They will be the owners of their assets. But we didn't incorporate them. So we say they are the custodians of it, while the society legally is the owner of the assets. The members, the limited company is the owner of the assets. Well, it's gradually coming to fulfill it. The idea was that we needed a body of experienced people with high integrity, more or less sitting in judgment, really, over what we do. People say a lot of things, they campaign, they say a lot of things, they think they have a mandate, they may use it wisely, they may misuse it, but if people want to deviate and step out of line or forget what we are created for, the Board of Trustees should remind them. And I think it is doing that now, getting more and more effectively, because the article which requires members to lay complaints with the Board of Trustees was not taken advantage of by our members until 2018, after the EGM that failed.
Does the board have the powers to punish a sitting president of the society?
Well, our articles don't actually give that power to anybody. It says that when complaints are submitted, the board will send its determination. And that is a very important word. It's that determination is a judgment, really. A decision. It will forward it to the council. Now, some council members think it is a recommendation to council. No, the determination is a determination. Council cannot vary that. They can't approve or disapprove of it. They can record it for record purposes. But then it says you can and recommendations. Now that recommendation, council can accept or reject. But the determination, if they say we find that so-and-so's action is inconsistent with the articles of association that is a determination that cannot be amended in any way. It is there on record. What steps should be taken? Now we have a provision in the articles that says you can remove officers by a process of more or less of impeachment. We still retain the old provision that council can in fact remove an officer for misconduct through its own process, but we have added an impeachment process to it now. But until we change the articles of association to give BOT the authority, I don't like to use the word power, it can mislead, the authority to pronounce not just guilt or innocence, but also punishment. We are left with them just pronouncing guilt or innocence.
That determination, because you have explained something now, it's a determination is different from recommendation. If
certainly it's
if
different.
they now send their determination to the council, what action? You say they are not, it's not subject to the council's deliberation. Then what is the next line of action that will be taken after that?
Let me make reference to the American judicial system.
Okay.
The judges determine an issue and they state their determination. Then they give a further date for sentencing if it's a criminal issue.
Okay.
During that sentencing, a number of other factors can be taken into consideration, whether mitigating or exacerbating. Is he a first offender? Is he a habitual offender? What is the gravity of the offense? Things like that in determining what sentence to impose. Now, when the BOT makes a recommendation, the council has the responsibility to take the next step of the next action. Should we impose a sanction? And what sort of sanction?
So that we don't dwell much on this now, don't you think that there should have been a separation on this instead of the BOT, when it takes its determination, that just like the Supreme Court, it should be supreme, because sending their determination to the council, if, for instance, the defendant happens to be the president of the society, who happens to be the chairman of the council or the chairman in council, and that determination is sent to the same council where he presides as chairman, don't you think that that determination can be truncated or thwarted?
Yes, of course it can be, and that is one of the weaknesses of our current but there was one other thing which you have not really mentioned. It is that if you say the BOT should prescribe a sanction, you should have the codification of those sanctions so that they are not acting in vacuum and they don't make wild or laughable awards of sanctions. We don't have that yet. We need to set that up to codify what level of offense will attract what kind of sanction. Then they'll be guided. We don't have that yet.
Okay.
The findings being truncated, yes, of course, it can happen, and that it has happened. not for the Board of Trustees, but an appeal, the Elections Appeals Committee, whose findings were set aside by council. It has happened. So I think these are areas of future development that we need to look at in the affairs of the NSA.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we'll still come back to that if we have time before the end of the program. Now, let me take you to 1996. If you can remember, in 1996, you delivered the 15th NSE October lecture. And the topic of your lecture was sustainability, professionalism, and engineering. If you can remember, that was the topic.
Yes.
And what inspired that topic? Why did you choose that topic? Sustainability, professionalism, and engineering.
Well, sustainability had become an issue of global concern in 1996. The first meeting on the subject was in Stockholm. I think it was in 1991 or 1993. So sustainability had become an issue of global concern. And I also, so that was an issue I wanted to draw attention to. Professionalism. By that time, it was very clear that our seniors, our colleagues, let me say, not just seniors only, our colleagues in the public service, many times would surrender professionalism to political authority. And I didn't think that was a healthy development. We were not thinking of in our use of energy at that time, and the world was beginning to think of it. And I thought, we should direct our own attention to it. We cannot start too early to be conscious of these things. Even though we were a developing country, we should not make the mistakes willfully that the developed countries made and that we are making. That even in that development, we could arrange our development in a more orderly way that can be sustainable. So those were the reasons.
Okay. Now, if this is 26 years after, if you were to give the same lecture today, what would have been your topic?
Well, I doubt whether it will have, the professionalism will still be there. Definitely sustainability now is everybody's concern. What was the other one? The third word?
Engineering.
Engineering, yes. Well, of course, you know that engineering is at the heart of all development. And if we're talking of sustainability, you can't do it without bringing engineers into it. Because all the issues that bedevil sustainability are man-made. The human processes, procedures, human inventions, they're all man-made. And when you look at them, all these man have engineering at the bottom of it, at the foundation of it. So I doubt whether I would have chosen a different topic. I think I still have chosen the same topic.
Well, before we end, I would suggest, I know the kind of topic that you would have liked to dwell on vis-a-vis the current, the recent developments in the society. Now, if another question I want to ask, similar to the other one, If you were NSE president today, what would be your major focus?
Well, my major focus would be really mobilizing our colleagues, particularly our senior colleagues in policy positions, to give to the society and to be focused in professional development of engineers. Our resources are limited, but we must compete in a world in which the standards are not set for us, but for everybody. So, professional development, making our members conversant and proficient in the latest techniques of problem solving would be a focus for me.
All right.
To make sure that engineers, young engineers get employed, get work, would be a focus. Building a 50-story building wouldn't be a focus.
Now, talking about building, you mentioned SHONUBI make in an associate. Can you tell us about that and also some of the landmark projects you have handled as an engineer?
Well, it's not really sad, it is a mark of progress, but the thing about development is that physical structures disappear. People, after they've served it for about 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, somebody will come with an idea that something better could be done. It may be actually better, but it may turn out to be not that much better. The firm has engaged in a number of projects, many of them building services. In the building services, some of our projects that are still standing will include they called it Eagle House when it was built. I don't know what they call it now because then Shell owned it. Now it's called it was National Oil. I think Mike Adenuga bought it. And I don't, what name is it called now? I'm not sure. The Mama Contagora House on Marina, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria built that one as the headquarters before the country moved its headquarters to Abuja. That is also one of us. The Treasury House in Abuja right now was one of that firm's projects, and quite a few others all around the place. We did do a project all over the country on cold stores for what was then the Department of the Livestock Production Department of Ministry of Agriculture. About 250 cold stores scattered all over the country. That was during the era of Murtala Muhammad, importation of meat from Brazil. Well, that in the 20, 30 years or so of practice, you do many projects to keep afloat.
Yes, sir.
Naturally, I can't remember.
Okay,
I don't remember many of
them. Personally, have you had any major setback in your life or career, and how were you able to overcome it?
Major setback?
Yes.
Most consultants have that setback. They don't get paid. they work and do projects that they don't get paid for. And our colleagues keep saying, don't worry, government will pay you. But there have been instances when it never materialized. You might call those setbacks, but we've survived. We survived them at the time. So major setbacks, I don't think so. I've been very lucky. God has been kind to me. So I've not experienced what people call major setbacks that knock you down. No, I haven't.
Okay. What do you normally like to do in your free time? We are wrapping it up.
In my free time?
Yes.
A lot of that now. I read. I play Sudoku.
Wow.
Keep my brain active. I used to play a bit of chess, but not much of it now. And well, do mild exercise. And that's it. The time passes so quickly.
We're talking about, is it that our past presidents love to play Sudoku? I know past President Charles and for that is his best game. Sudoku, I remember I bought him one of the, I didn't know you played the game. I know I bought him one of the Sudoku games in Singapore before. And talking about him, he once told me that you were the one that conferred him with the fellowship of the Nigerian Society of Engineers when you were president, and two of you have a lot of things. And he told me how the fellowship was done, that he didn't apply for fellowship, and suddenly when they came to the arena for the conferment, he had his name, and the wife tapped him and said they just called. He said no, that he's not he was not expecting to be conferred the fellowship. And you called him, he told him to come up, Charles, that was his name. And that was how he became a fellow of the society without applying, never applying for fellowship. Okay, that's interesting.
Well, you know, the fellowship wasn't sold for any price in those days. In those days, they think you have made a contribution or made your mark in public service, private practice. They will invite you to be a fellow. Not one kobo did you have to pay. Now,
Wow.
of course, if you felt that I ought to be a fellow, you will apply and submit your thesis and convince the educators that you have merit. But things are different now, because where we copied from, the British institutions didn't have fellows in those days. The highest grade was member. The associate grade was the professional grade. And the member grade was more or less reserved for captains of industry and commerce and the academia. So it was an honor. It was not something to be asked for or paid for.
Another controversial issue I would like to ask you is movement of the Nigerian Society of Engineers headquarters from Lagos to Abuja. Was it a right decision?
We applied for a plot in Abuja when Abuja became a reality. The plot we got, we were given initially, was on Taka, I think Taka, well. And, but somebody took it, and we had to come to the site where we are now. Almost an equivalent area, but not right on the main road. I think it was the right decision. We had always said that our headquarters will be in the capital of the country.
Yeah.
That's why Lagos was the headquarters initially. So when the capital shifted to Abuja, it was natural and a good thing. I don't think there was any controversy about it. That the headquarters, we should move it to Abuja.
Okay, as we wrap it up, on the 7th day of March 2022, you will clock 87.
On the 7th day of March.
On March,
not 10th.
10th of March 2022. I said 7th of March.
I'm correcting you. 7th of March, not 10th.
I didn't say 10th, sir. I said 7th day of March.
Okay.
I said 7th day of March, you will be 87. And at 87, almost just less than a month now, you are still very vibrant. You are still very active in the council, attends all the council meetings, contributes, very well in the council. What is the driving force behind this? Because at 87, many people at your age will say that, no, they have contributed enough. They should, just be at home and be watching the way the society moves. But you are still very active.
If you think you can make an input, you do it. When I will stop going to council when it becomes clear that members don't want to hear. They've decided they want to go their own way, never mind what the rules say. Then I will stop going. But while there's still hope that some people will say, this is what our rules say, the best form of discipline is self-discipline. If we make these rules, then let us comply with them. We don't want them anymore. They've approved their usefulness. Let's change them by the due process we have agreed to adopt. Keep me in good health. Hello?
I can hear you, sir. We can hear you. We can hear you, sir.
More than that. Yes, I'm talking. I'm talking. Are you talking? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
I say, what keeps me going, which I think should keep every engineer going, is that if you can make a difference, then try to make that contribution. Don't give up.
Okay, sir. Now, many engineers refer to you as a custodian of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, MEMAT, because of your rich knowledge of the society, which is a testament to your love for the society. And also, Engineer Inua, in his book, described you this way. He said that you are a repository of knowledge of NSC activities with an institutional memory, in-depth knowledge of the workings and operational philosophy, vision and mission of the founding fathers, and firm belief in the rule of law in NSC. This is his description of your personality. And I want to ask you, NSC of today and NSC of your time, what is the difference? And do you have any disappointment with our present generation?
Yes, indeed. The NSC of my generation and the NSC of your generation, the difference I see is that people will come to council meeting and to the AGM and say rules are made for men, not men for rules. That paraphrasing the think of the Christ, that laws are made for men, not men for laws. But I think it's a misquotation. When we come together as an association, and this is what they don't realize, the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2018 and the one before it says the memorandum and articles of association, when registered, shall have the status of a deed. The former law says of a contract under seal, which is something we have agreed. It's an agreement between ourselves that this is the way we will do things. So we don't come there and begin to apply sophistry and say laws are made for men. You sign an agreement, you stamp it, you take it to the stamp duty office, you pay stamp duty on it. You can't vary anything in it, except by the due process, which we have stated in our articles. So we should be disciplined enough to comply with our own rules. That is my philosophy. Until we change them, comply with them.
Thank you very much, sir. It's been, if you are just joining us, we have inside the arena a very distinguished engineer who I described as a very thorough engineer who has really distinguished himself in the field of engineering practice and has paid his due as far as the Nigerian Society of Engineers is concerned. He served the society in many capacities and served as General Secretary from 1972 to 1975 and was President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers 1991-1992. We have in our midst a very distinguished engineer, Dr. ADEBISI, SHONUBI, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Engineering, and a first-class graduate of mechanical engineering. It's our pleasure to have you. So we are rounding off now. That's for the interview segment from my side. What is your advice for young engineers, and what is your advice for the Nigerian Society of Engineers?
Well, it may be difficult, but I hold the view that engineers should not sell themselves cheap. I'm aware that these days you negotiate to give service and somebody will say they want 30% of your fees, as if 30% is your profit margin. And even if it is, why should anybody want to take all your profit margin? So the people may feel that if I don't take this job, somebody else will. As long as that attitude is maintained, people will exploit. We once had, this is coming home, the NSC Secretariat that is going on now, phase one. I think it was our executive secretary at the time, told us, the consultants, that he wanted a 40% discount on our fees. So we told him, Mr. So-and-so, we don't have that much as a profit margin. Secondly, our code of ethics says we do not discount our fees. Individually, we tell you what donation we will make to the project when you ask for donations, but we're not going to give you any discount. So, and that was the way it was because we existed. But I don't know whether engineers these days will stand their ground. And until they do, lawyers and all kinds of people will take advantage of them. So that is one issue. The other thing is that I think they should try to be professional, get themselves conversant with the rules, the codes that are current, and stick to them so they can say, you think my design is too expensive? These are my, these are the ground rules. These are my assumptions. This is what I'm designing to. Engineers, I think, should learn to stand their ground. And to do that, of course, they must be competitive. They should know what is the best current method to apply. So I think our divisions, our institutions should focus on that in the service that they give to their members to make them competitive in today's. So if Nigerian politicians don't want to give them work, they will go and work in Rwanda. They will go to Ghana. There are so many other places who are ready to give, to pay for value. So we should focus, we should make sure that we can deliver that value. That's
okay.
Okay,
sir. On a final note, what is your wish for Nigeria?
That one is a big one. No? My wish for Nigeria, I quote a verse from the Quran. Allah says, He will not change the conditions of a people, of a nation, until they change what is in their hearts. So my wish for Nigeria would be that we should change what is in our hearts. We should replace greed with integrity. We should, of course, pursue profitability. Efficiency makes for that. But we should forego the current, who you know matters more than what you know. I think what you know, what you can do is in fact more important for us as a country. That is what I would say about Nigeria.
I think the summary of what you said, I love one beautiful quote by the former governor of Old Eastern Region, Dr. Akanu Ibian, which is a summary of what you just said. He said that where there is righteousness in the heart, there is beauty in the character. Where there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. And where there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. And where there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. And the summary of what you said is that there should be righteousness in our character, in us, for us to drive Nigeria to its destination. Thank you very much, sir. It's been a wonderful time. Because of time, I may not take you further. I know some of our participants may likely bring back some of the questions I would have loved to ask you, because we have 3 segments of this program. The first is the direct free kick, which is the direct questions from the host. And we are going to the next segment, which is the corner kick. The corner kick is a segment where the participants will ask questions to you and you will be able to respond to some of the questions. But we have a caveat to that. We know that you are a man who loves to obey rules and regulation. The host has the right to flag any question as offside. That is, if somebody throws any question that we we feel is not in line, in tandem with our rules, we are going to flag it as offside, and that will exonerate you from answering the question. So, but the next part of the program we have is what we call the extra time. The extra time is the prize giving time. For every program we do, we have going to have a winner, somebody who is going to take home a beautiful prize. We've had people, some have won laptops before, some have won different prizes. Because we are a statesman, we didn't want to, somebody volunteered. Normally the guest is the person who normally sponsors the prizes, but somebody who is very close to you, a very good friend of yours, decided to sponsor the prizes for today's event. And the prize, we have 3 prizes in one. These 3 prizes I have in my hand, somebody is going to take home all of them. One is this beautiful HP 3-in-1, the latest edition, 3-in-1 printer. Another prize, because the person is a power person, somebody whose job is to provide power to people. We also have this beautiful UPS, in addition to the printer, and of course, this latest edition of, that's 27, I think that's the biggest capacity of power bank I have seen. This is a power bank to charge phones or other smaller appliances. So these 3 gifts will be won today by somebody, and the person is the winner. We are going to ask a question about you. The question will be about you, and the first person to send in the correct answer will be the person to win the prize. And it's my honor to announce that the person who has sponsored this prize is Engineer Olu Ogunduile, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, MD CEO of Kenol Engineering. So he's the one who has sponsored this gift on your behalf. So we are going straight to the corner kick segment, and we are going to be taking questions from our members. So we still have our rules. If you have a question, you raise your hand, we ask you to unmute your mic, then you ask your question. We are going to do this in the next 10 minutes so that we can wrap it up for today. So question number 1, you raise your hand, we ask you to unmute yourself. Can we take the first question? I've not seen any hand raised yet. Okay, Engineer Paul Imohiosin. Please, can you unmute your mic and ask your question?
Thank you, Engineer Ben. My question is that what was the greatest challenge Engineer SHONUBI had as the 17th president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers?
Okay. So let's take let's take the second question, Engineer Ikenna Okonkwo, so that you can answer the 2 questions at once. Engineer Ikenna Okonkwo.
All right, well done, engineers, well done for the good job. Well to our guest engineer session question him to a PhD level And one would be thinking that this time comes, he went into private, practice. Thank you.
All right. He said, what was my greatest challenge when I was president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers? The greatest challenge, looking back now, will be my first year in office. At that time, we had an office of Secretary General and President. And there was this perception that the society actually belongs to the Secretary General, that he runs the Secretariat, and therefore the Secretary General was really the authority of the society, not even council. And that was a challenge I had to face. And it culminated in December 1991 AGM, to the point where we had, since 1986, been appointing an executive secretary at the same time as we maintained a secretary general. So the executive secretary was answering to, or was reporting to, the secretary general. And it came to the point where the then secretary general would not obey council's directives. That was a bit of a hiccup for the AGM in Ibadan in 1991. But the society survived it. That was a testing period.
Okay.
As for what motivated me to go to leave the ivory tower and come into the rough and tumble of life in the private sector, well, I've already answered that. It is that there are many opportunities. I saw many opportunities in the country. In fact, the opportunities were more or less limitless. And I had this optimism that if you were good, you will make it. I remember voicing this in Kaduna Hotel.
My life will never be the same. And change.
I don't know how much you heard, but the testing period, the challenge was when the Secretary General decided more or less to disobey council in 1991. That was a challenging period. I don't know whether you heard my description of that time. As for why I decided to go into what we call private practice, not public service, I thought the opportunities were wide, that I had knowledge that could make use of those opportunities, and that the market was open, that if you were good, you will find work to do, you will be recognized. And I remember one occasion during my practice, which really made me feel fulfilled. who was supervising, I mentioned it before, the cold stores project just nationwide. We had a Brazilian contractor. The federal government had signed a contract in dollars. At that time, the euro was very fast. So they came up with a claim that there had been a price inflation in that country of something like 46% in that 1 month. And we were able to show them that, no. From their own data, sourced from their central bank, that nothing of the sort happened. That one, we didn't have a Cruzeiro contract, and that we had a contract, a dollar contract, and the actual inflation in dollar prices was less than 4%. They did not argue further with us. But what was interesting was that after the issue had been settled, the contractor said, Dr. Shonubi, if I should ever need a consultant to be on my side, I will come to you. So that was the thing.
Okay, so we take one more question.
Yes, carry on.
We'll take one more question. I think I saw Kubaik or somebody that raised his hand before. I don't know why he has lowered it. Maybe in the course of your response, you have answered his question. I think, okay, Engineer Camila Maliki. Engineer Camila Maliki.
Yeah, good day, sir.
Nice to hear you.
Yeah, very interesting. And I want to pray that the Almighty Allah grant you many more years of service. My question has to do with this cold store. I'm aware of one location in Kwara where I visited around 1990, and I saw a completed job. But unfortunately, the projects were never commissioned all over the country. I don't know why, because the one situated in Kwara had everything, including genset, everything ready for commission, and they never took one piece of chicken or meat in the place. I don't know why.
Well, the department that was sponsoring the program at that time was NLPC, Nigerian Livestock Production Company. When we went around commissioning these cold stores, the idea was that many of them were located in rural settings, was that the butchers would take their meat from there. They buy meat and stop there, and put them out on the market day and sell them. What they don't finish selling, they will return and keep in the cold store. When we commissioned those cold stores around the country, they changed policy that they were going to sell them to operators, that the company itself couldn't operate more than 100 cold stores scattered all over the country. And that was where we had to come out of it. We didn't know to whom they sold it, how they sold them, if they sold them. Clients said, thank you very much, pay their fee up to that point, and that was the end of the contract as far as we were concerned. We don't know. I'm hearing for the first time that the one in Kwara State was just locked up, not used. I'm hearing that for the first time. I thought they were all put into use.
Engineer Kubik, quickly, make it just fast.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So my question is coming from the angle of the engineering professional practice. From what we saw or we've seen that happened in the country in the past few years of building collapses. That's for the building. We've also seen routes that are constructed, various facilities put up, and some engineers supervise these works and they collapse even before time. My question is, what exactly would you say that Nigerian Society of Engineers have come to where you think it should be, starting from the time you championed that codes and standards should be set up until the time you became president, and then up until now, with what is happening on ground? That is my question. Thank you.
Well, collapse of buildings is not a simple matter, especially where buildings are usually a multidisciplinary product. The building collapses are usually mainly structural failures. And people have given many explanations ranging from poor materials to bad design. In the early days, before Current was established in 1970, the Nigerian Society of Engineers sought to play exactly the same role as institutions in the UK. In other words, the regulatory function was also expected to be played by the NSE. In 1970, the function was separated. NSE was is still represented strongly in Current, but the professional work should be done by professional people. We have had a few failures that have been investigated, have been sanctioned. And I think that should continue to make people diligent in their designs and diligent in their post-contract duties. If they were diligent, poor materials would not be accepted or poor construction methods. And if they were diligent, the designs would have been rigorously checked. If those are done, collapses may still occur, because the one that occurred lately in Ikoyi, I read an article from a geologist saying that the structure of the soil in some places are unstable. So even if when you do soil tests up to a certain depth, that the movement of the soil below that depth will cause failure. That professional can defend themselves if the other things are in place, if they've been diligent to ensure that the right materials are used, that their designs are safe. Collapses may still occur due to unforeseen circumstances, but then they will be rare. Apart from that, we just need to see that engineers, that when we certify them with, when Current certifies them, they indeed are fit to go out there and practice. And that is by making sure that we provide courses will be sponsored by the divisions and the institutions, so that they are current. Their practices, they are current. That's all we need to do.
Okay, I think we are going to take one more one. I can see Charles. I don't know if it is the Charles I know. Engineer Charles.
Yeah. Good evening, all. Good evening, my president, because even if you are ex, you are still the president. Please, if I may ask, what is the condition or the situation of the land you said was given to the association when you were the president? What happened to it for now? Is it still invoked or has been revoked? Thank you.
That piece of land on Michael Opara Way, yes, it was Michael Opara Way. We actually laid the foundation stone of our headquarters there in December 1992. I did that before courtesy of FNSE. I was flown to Enugu for the AGM. But somebody or some company turned up and said that that land had been allocated to them. So we couldn't develop that plot. But in exchange, we were given where we now are. So we really don't have an interest in that plot of land anymore. We had been given another plot in substitution for the one that was a contention.
All right. Okay. I think we have to wrap it up here. Honestly, you know, if we can go on and on and on with Engineer FOLASODUN, SHONUBI, just as I read how Engineer Inua described him in his book, he said he's a repository of knowledge. And when it comes to issues pertaining to the Nigerian side of engineers, there is no area of the society that you will touch that he will not be ready to provide answers to questions that will emanate from that. We are very happy to have you, sir, and we sincerely appreciate you for creating time to be part of this program. Now we are going to be going to the prize winning segment. As I said earlier, we have 3 beautiful prizes, all to be won by one person, and the prizes were donated by Engineer Olu Ogunduile, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, who donated on behalf of our guest for today. Now, the question is very simple. In 1996, Engineer ADEBISI SHONUBI delivered the 15th October lecture of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Give me the topic of that lecture. The first person to type in the correct answer the way it was in the presentation I mentioned it here is going to win the prize. You type in the first to type in the correct answer will win the prize. Then the order, the way it is in the order. Okay, I can see the first is, the correct answer is sustainability, professionalism, and engineering. That is the correct answer. So we look out for the person that sent in the correct answer first, and that person automatically will win the prize. So you can look inside the chat box. I think I have seen somebody. The first to send in the correct answer is Kingsley Emeka, sustainability, professionalism, and engineering. Also, we have Cordelia Amaka got the correct answer, but is coming after Kingsley. We have Oluwa Dare also got it, but he added something that is not, he added in Nigeria. And we have Engineer Maliki Kamela also, but not in the order. He said it's professionalism, sustainability, and engineering. It's the other way around: sustainability, professionalism and engineering. He wrote professionalism, sustainability, and engineering. I think without wasting time, the winner, if you can confirm, sir, from your end, the first to send in the correct question is Kingsley Emeka. Kingsley Emeka, please, can you unmute? Can you show us your face so that we can see who you are, and you tell us your location, and we will get your prize across to you. If you are in Abuja, you come along to my office and pick it. If you are outside Abuja, we are going to deliver it to your destination, or you send somebody to pick it on your behalf. Can you, Kingsley Emeka, please, can you show us your face? Show your face. Let's see your face, please.
Yes, my face is on now.
I'm trying to see you. So I can pin you to the, okay. How to pin, okay. Let me see your face, please. Let me know if it's somebody I know. Yeah, this thing is blank. I can't see, your video is blank. Okay, can you identify yourself? Where are you based and which branch do you belong to? Where are you based? Where are you based?
I am based in Abuja here.
You are based in Abuja? Okay. Now, what you will do is this: you send us. Do you know my office address, or do you know me? Do you have my number?
I know you. I have your number.
Okay.
I will call you after now.
You send me after this program. You send me a text message with your number, and also this face I'm seeing now, a snapshot of your face, so that I will know it's the same person that we say. We say very big congratulations to you, and these are the prizes you have won for today. You have this beautiful power bank, 27,000 mAh, very, very powerful. And you have this UPS, and you also have this, the latest 3-in-1 printer from HP. So these are the 3 prizes you have won for today. So if you call me maybe tomorrow or on Monday, you come and pick your prize. We take a photo shot of you and also send to the participants to know that the prize has been received. On behalf of all the participants in this program, we want to say very big congratulations to you, Kingsley Emeka, and want to once again appreciate some of our very distinguished and erudite fathers who have joined us for today's program, and also, of course, to our guests, our father, our distinguished past president, Engineer Fola ADEBISI SHONUBI. I say very big thank you to you. I remain yours sincerely, Engineer Ben O.C. Oko, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, signing out. Thank you, and God bless you.